Welcome to At the Vanguard. We're TB Vanguard, and our motto is for fans by fans. We showcase fans on the front line of the Team VZ movement. This podcast is an open forum to discuss current topics as they relate to Chris Brown and his fan base.
Hey, welcome to At the Vanguard. Today is February 24th, 2025, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Nikki.
I'm Paula.
And I'm Dee.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. The thing we wanted to talk about, of course, was the what are called the Chris Brown Renaissance. We'll kick it off with talking about his winning all the 3 NAACP awards that he was nominated for: Outstanding Male Artist, Outstanding International Song featuring Davido, and Outstanding Soul R&B Song Residuals. So, yay!
Yay! 3!
Yes, after so long, yeah. And then Indigo today became Chris's first album to reach 4 billion streams on Spotify. So yeah,
Wow.
yes.
That's awesome.
So I didn't call it Chris Brown Renaissance. I mean, he's been on top. He's been a top artist, but still, as far as accolades and that kind of thing, it's been, in my opinion, suppressed. And I think the current times kind of shows that, because all of a sudden they're recognizing how great he is, and that's what's different. So, what was your take on that?
I think that's certainly fair to say, especially coming into 2025,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because he got another Grammy.
Yes.
He's got all his NAACP awards, so that he was nominated for, and so I think it does seem like he's starting off the year in a positive direction as far as accolades go.
Right.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
See?
I think that 2024 kind of kicked it off because he was getting the Billboard Awards, iHeart. He was nominated for quite a few categories. And so I think the recognition of 11/11, which probably was tied into the success of him going over to Brazil and South Africa.
Those tours
kind of highlighted the albums, highlighted the songs, and I think really kind of kicked off the whole residual, taking off like crazy, and then having the challenges for it. But it seems like now, like whatever was holding Chris back, it could even just be timing on top of it. It's kind of like breaking away to where he's getting the recognition that he deserves. And the thing that I like about it is that the recognition that he's getting isn't tied to him having a featured person carrying it.
Yes.
Especially when you're talking about like residuals. It's just all just Chris,
Yeah.
And
no
he's
feature.
kicking off that R&B lane again. So I love it. It's you can see that it's kind of like predicting what's happening in 2025.
Yeah.
So it's just good to be back in that space again. I know correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he Residuals just got placed pretty high in pop radio, and I'm pretty sure Residuals is like top 40 on radio play. So that's
on the radio
great.
airplay charts. Yeah, that was the big surprise when it appeared on the pop charts. It's been a long time for him. It's been a long time for him with the pop charts. So that was a big surprise. And I agree. I think the whole thing of when they saw him in Africa, and especially in Africa, but also in Brazil, it was like, oh wow, he pulls in audiences like that. He's been doing that in the United States for the last 3 years. For years, but as far as a completely sold out tour, he's done that 3 years in a row in the United States. So, he's not dependent on international appeal, but he has worldwide appeal, and that's the point. And I think that's that impressed them. That impressed them, because there was a lot of people who don't act like they don't know what he's doing, or we're suddenly saying something after they saw that. Um, there's this one, I won't say the vlogger name. He's not negative, but he just seemed to ignore anything about Chris, anything that was happening to Chris. Even though he talked about like Housewives and that kind of all these kind of shows, but all of a sudden he's like, Chris Brown does these two shows in South Africa. I can't believe this crowd, and that kind of thing. So it seemed to have really just impressed so many people. So if that's what it took, okay. What I mean? But one thing I heard JP talking about on his show, with how some people are saying that they haven't heard any music from him in years. I'm like, what? It seems impossible, but I mean, I guess if you don't looking for him,
that makes sense, because I would say that makes sense because now people are very selective with how they get their music,
yeah,
right? So if you're someone who only listens to the radio and what the radio plays, then depending on what station you listen to, right, you may not hear them.
right.
So
right.
So I think because we're online a lot, we use social media a lot, and
Yeah,
the way the algorithm goes, of course, we come across those things, and we follow him and stuff like that. But
right,
for people that don't, it's a completely different, world out there.
right. Yeah, that's a good observation, really, because
It's a completely different
yeah,
world out there, and then it seems completely the opposite for the people that are on social media. It's like, what do you mean? How do you not know this is going on?
right,
Again, it's just
yeah,
it's like everybody's insulated in their own kind of way. So
yeah, and the little
yeah.
bubbles, because the whole thing, like,
Mhm.
if you're just listening to um like on your streaming stations, they only bring you something similar to what you're listening to. So if you're not listening to anything similar to Chris Brown, you're not going to see his name.
And not only that, but those different streaming services, they create playlists, right?
Right,
And they're constantly updating those playlists, but they're adding new music, that's in the genre from brand spanking new artists
right.
never heard
Yeah.
before in my life. And I'm like, who the hell is this? And it's and maybe like every 8 people you'll get a random somebody that you know.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
again, it really just depends what's around you. It's very, very easy to not hear. And I won't
An
even say a
artist.
Chris Brown song. It doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
It's very easy to not hear someone's music. If you're not being intentional about it, I'll put it that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And because we are intentional, and so
Mm-hmm.
we couldn't possibly miss it. But like, I think social media does play a big part in it, because we're on there all the time, and of course there are people also who can even block his name, and did that years ago. So there's that.
Oh, that's
That's
true too.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have certain artists that I just don't like their music. So I just, I don't. If their name comes up, I make sure I go, oh, don't play this for me. Don't play, that person for me. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm gonna
Or
stand
maybe their
there.
fans get on your nerves, so you
Yeah,
block
that
the
too. There's
pages.
that.
Maybe you block
There
the
is that.
pages that you might have gotten more information from, and you because
Right.
you come across it because you can't stand XOXO 520 or whoever
Right.
and their drama. So it's
Yeah.
just it's very easy to have to be aware of things and not be aware of things at the same time.
Right. At the same time, you're right. That's a good
Hmm.
observation. It really is. Yeah. So yes, that's why it's like we're like, what? But yeah, that's entirely possible and easy to happen. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I saw somebody do an AI. I don't know why their AI works so much better than mine. I said something to them, but they asked them what they used, but they didn't say, of course. But they
Oh
did
boy.
amazing AI that really looks like Chris. Whenever the ones that I get, I swear, they look like just any generic black guy with a fade. I'm not kidding. It's like, how is that supposed to be Chris Brown? Um, so I gave up on it. But what they did, this one person did. Oh God, I wish I remember the name. Oh, you know what? I reposted them on our page because I thought it was just so amazing. But they made an AI of him receiving his NAACP award, and yeah, it looks really good.
Maybe they should have did the.
But she's got him holding his award. She's wearing a tuxedo, and it's weird. Weirdly, he's also standing next to himself, smiling. So I'm like, wait. So she's really good though. It's really amazing. He looks kind of older in the picture, but it looks really nice. He's holding his award, and I was like, oh, I want to DM him and say, would you please take when you get all three of your trophies? Would you please
take a picture?
Take a picture with him so you look nice. Because just because we don't get that, he doesn't go to the award shows, so we don't get to see him cradling awards or that kind of thing. But maybe he'll do it with his Grammy. I don't know. But all of them should be touted like that because they're great awards and they're high honors because I mean not everybody gets an Image Award, so
that's true.
The Image Award, that's a big deal. So what do you think? What do you think? Flip the switch, D.
I think that there's so much other drama going on in the music industry.
Oh yeah,
and so much drama going on the political front that instead of him having to be the object of discussion,
right,
he was able to live his life and prosper, perform, and show his talents as he should. So I think it was just a sign of the time. There's so much other stuff going on that he was able to just be him and not have to worry about somebody trying to, use him as a clickbait.
Right. And I know that's why he doesn't go even when he's nominated because they'll do that and then they'll nominate him for all these things, then nothing. So yeah, and I'm sure that's annoying. But I saw Tizio went and accepted the Grammy and and then called him because there's a video of him on the phone with Chris when he told him that they won a Grammy. He was like, "What?" There's that factor.
I think as a world, because I was about to say a country, but this is like bigger than the United States. But as a world, there's so much going on that's like real life and death, money and taxes, policy and all that people don't have time for stuff that's frivolous to worry about what an entertainer is doing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, you got the battles going with this rapper or that rapper. That took the entertainment front. But there were so many other real things going on that people honestly should have been focused on instead of trying to, do some clickbait on a celebrity or artist,
Right.
Which I mean, it's unfortunate that we're in that kind of situation as a country and worldwide, but I just think the whole impact of celebrities is diminishing to where it's not like an end-all, be-all like it has been in the past. So,
right.
The only other thing I wanted to say about Chris's Renaissance is I think because of the fact, like Dee was saying, I don't think it's just that there's so much political stuff going on. I also think it's because he's coming at a point where it's everybody that's done whatever they've done, there's a point, they get to a point where years and years later, it's somebody else's turn to be the scapegoat or,
right.
He looked at a certain way. Like there's been so many years where he's just been working, doing his thing and getting better and getting better and getting better. And so I do think that regardless of what the outcome would have been as far as like political climate in the world, I do still think he would have still ended 2024 and gone into 2025 the way he has,
It's just like his time. like his time.
I do. I think it's his time,
Yeah.
and because people are realizing, like Dee said, so much is going on, even with other entertainers,
Right.
that this particular thing, although bad, is not the end all be all.
Right.
You know,
And it's been 15 years too. It's been 15 years, so
it's been 15 years.
Yeah.
There's so much other things that's going on that people are doing. So,
well, yeah, it's been great seeing what's happening and how the tide has turned. It's like he rode out the storm and stayed above it, and then now he's able to just come on in and get his due.
Yeah. Yeah, it eventually gets there.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot sooner for other people. They get there sooner, but eventually it does. It does get there.
Plus, I think him filing the lawsuit and for himself to shut a lot of it down because before he would just let people say what they want to say, and
Right.
Fans would know the truth or lies, but for him to come out on the $500 million lawsuit that he did against Warner Brothers, and
Right.
that right there is setting the tone for other people who are going to try and use fake stories
Right.
to come up off of him, that he's going to be holding people accountable.
Yes.
As he should, as anyone should. You can't.
Well, that's what we were screaming for so many years. Defend yourself. Don't, because we know the truth. Because we hear when the bad story comes out, it's on page 1. When the rebuttal or the correction comes, that's on page 6. And we go look at
it's
page
never with
6.
the same energy.
Yeah,
It's never with the same energy of
exactly.
the disrespect.
So I think that lawsuit was actually another thing. Yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know how I forgot about it, but I did.
Good point, Dee.
But yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, it's been very good being a Chris Brown fan of late, being Team Breezy's. We're always happy to support him and all that, but it's just been good to see him. Other people love on him the way we do, so, or maybe not as much as we do, but they do they're loving on him now, so that's been a good thing. Now this,
they're recognizing the talent, the unique talent that he has, which is pretty unmatched right now. So,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. We saw him by himself. No big giant ball on the field. Him by himself mesmerized almost 100,000 people a night. So yeah, that's a big deal. That's impressive. He was the big giant ball. Yeah. Anyway, he was impressed. He impressed. He mesmerized that crowd by himself. So on his own. So on his own talent and uniqueness, as you say, he's very unique talent. So. So, anybody else have any other observations before we close out? Everything seems to be quiet on the home front. We haven't seen anything.
Thank goodness.
I know.
Okay,
Nikki. Nikki, you want to take us on out?
Sure. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have an amazing week. Good night.
Bye.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on this episode, and we hope you'll join us again at the Vanguard.